Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 2 just dropped, so we're going to take a quick look at some references and Easter eggs from throughout these 3 episodes. Some of these are going to be pretty obvious, and some of them are going to be like huge stretches. Let's get into it. In the first of the new episodes, Chapter 5, Shock Jock, Murray suggests they all have a snack. In this box of food they pour out, there is a box juice of Hi-C Ecto-Cooler. Now, I wasn't alive in 1987, I was born in 91. And I'm not sure what year Ecto-Cooler actually came out, because online I find conflicting reports. Some say 1987, some say 1989. Now, the real Ghostbusters, the cartoon show, came out in 1986, so it stands to reason 1987 would make sense. However, other sources, such as Dinosaur Dracula, somebody I trust, says it was more closely tied to the release of Ghostbusters 2 in 1989. However, I can't be sure of either or, so I'm just giving you that. Here's a juice box from the 2016 release of Ecto-Cooler, which coincided with the 2016 release of Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Now, you'll notice these boxes don't have Slimer on them, and that's because of laws with sugary drinks and promoting with cartoon characters on them. The next one I noticed was right in your face. It was the obvious Star Wars Return of the Jedi reference. Dustin explaining the shield generator concept by using an analogy, referencing Return of the Jedi. Now, this may not have been something you missed, but I found it interesting and wanted to talk about it. The next reference I saw was Lucas talking about using electricity and heat to heat up these bodies to reactivate the cells in them or whatever. And Erica basically says you want to Frankenstein this thing. Again, an obvious reference, but cool, because that is essentially what they're doing. The next reference I saw was Holly and Max traveling into one of Holly's memories on Halloween night and seeing herself watch A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Classic, and I loved seeing that in here, especially when Robert Englund himself was in the last season. Really cool to see, big fan of that movie. The next one I saw is in the scene where Holly is again going through her memories, and you see a book there called You Will Go to the Moon, and there's someone with a telescope looking at the moon. Now, obviously this season is involving space and planetary travel and stuff. There's more than one space reference on this list as well. But you'll notice on the front of that book, the looking through the telescope, that is very much like what Holly is going to be doing in a little while. Not that they mean anything, but you also see copies of Where the Sidewalk Ends, some zoo books, and Boy's Life magazine. The next one was almost another Frankenstein reference until it becomes a Young Frankenstein reference, which I also appreciated seeing. It just shows Robin's sense of humor and the types of movies that she enjoys. Who doesn't love Mel Brooks? But Mike says to Robin, "Are you ready, Dr. Frankenstein?" Or something along those lines. And she says, "It's pronounced Frankenstein." Classic movie, actually makes me want to go watch it. The next one I saw was actually a little bit more of an Easter egg, or call it foreshadowing, if you will. But earlier in the season, we saw Erica interrupted in class to be asked questions by the kids. Her favorite class, which is Mr. Clark's class, where he's giving a lecture about wormholes, which, spoiler, turns out to be what Dustin is explaining at one point in this scene that he's discovered that, Brenner was writing about in his journal and stuff. Really cool in my opinion. I'm glad to see Mr. Clark in some action finally. We'll be mentioning him on this list at least 1 or 2 more times. The next one is Robin using these records in place of people. So she uses The Clash's London Calling and calls it Will. She uses Tiffany and calls it Holly, and obviously Kate Bush for Max. Makes sense, very obvious, except I don't know how Robin relates Tiffany to Holly. I mean, sure, we as viewers saw that Holly likes Tiffany, and, Vecna knows that, Henry, but how the hell does Robin know that? I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it too much. The next one on the list is, I think, the biggest stretch on this list, which is the scene where the Demogorgons are coming after Max and Lucas and Robin and Vicky, and they're in the laundry room and they're hiding in there. Very much reminds me of Jurassic Park, that scene where the raptors are in the kitchen coming after the kids. There's nothing else I could think about while watching this scene. Some of the shots felt like they were just directly referencing it. The next reference I noticed was Mr. Clark talking about the Voyager satellites when they have the balloons up with the telemetry radios or whatever they're called. He references the Voyager satellites more than once. He doesn't say the word satellite, but if you don't know much about them, they had a golden record. They had a bunch of stuff on them. They were launched into space in the late 70s. Very fascinating to read about, too. Go do it on Google. I recommend it. The next one I noticed was another Mr. Clark reference. So him and Erica are helping Murray get that truckload of them inside to basically get into the Upside Down. And before he clicks his little button, he says, "Melon." Lord of the Rings fans will immediately recognize this. It's the passcode to get into the mines of Moria. It says on the outside, speak friend to enter. If you speak friend in Elvish, melon, it opens. That was the last thing I noticed, and my personal favorite out of all of these, to be honest. Let me know if there's anything you think I missed in the comments down below, or if some of these are a stretch. I'm not gonna lie, some of them are, but I wanted to talk about them regardless. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.